Hey guys, this video might be a little bit different to the others because today I actually won't be building in Minecraft. And yes, this is the world where I make all my little survival world builds. This video will be different. I'm not building here. I'm actually going to be building in Bloxburg on Roblox. So before the meteorite hits and there's a huge update, I'd like to build this Minecraft house. But the inside is pretty simple. We've got a bedroom loft up here, kitchen down here, and then just this over here for like a storage and a painting. Now I'm gonna bring myself into Bloxburg right now. Okay, so here we are in Bloxburg. There's a town over there, and so we will be building the Minecraft house in this plot. First of all, we will build the base of the whole building, and then I will start, guiding us through this. So let's get to it. And so I'm just going to try and build sort of a base of it. So now I'm going to be building on top of this, adding some more structure and more walls and more blocks onto this. And so here I am placing these like semi-transparent blocks so I can make some windows. So I made 2 of these. I did paint them on later on, don't worry about that. I built the walls up and I realised that there's actually a window on the top. So I had to copy the window that I had from the below and put that on top as well. I finished it off with 2 blocks on the side and then I had to copy the whole thing onto the other side. Once I did that, I moved onto the back wall. The back wall wasn't that complicated, it was just a plain wall with a little window on the right side of it. And so here you'll see me deleting a giant tower just so I can add this little tiny window. Then I moved these blocks over to the front so it'd be easier, so I don't have to remake all of this. So I could make the front window, which is a 4x4. This made it a lot easier and I just didn't have to faff with all the blocks. I then wanted to make a staircase. As you see, it wasn't that hard. It was just half a block and a quarter of a block on top. And I placed this in the front. And then it was the task of creating an upside down staircase, since we're going to be using a lot of those in this build. I then moved on to the doors, which actually weren't that hard. They were just 2 skinny blocks, as you can see here. But on top of them, there are upside down staircases. And I don't have the transform tool. So to place these in little spaces where there aren't blocks underneath, I had to use this little carpet hack that I learned from TikTok, unfortunately. I then placed 2 blocks on top of that to finish off the front wall. I then used the same carpet hack to create the roof of the house, and I had to fix a little mistake because I made the roof a little uneven on the left side. Here I'm just putting the slabs down. I sped this up for you guys because it's just a tiring long process. I then placed these staircases on the sides, which honestly I shouldn't have because it was such a big waste of money since they weren't even meant to be there. I then copied what I did on the front on the back, and then it was time to move on to the sides of the roof. This was a bit challenging because again I had to use the little carpet hack just so I could place all this. And then I copied the same thing on the other side and then deleted my prior mistake and placed down some blocks where the old stairs were, because that's where the moss blocks were meant to be. So I filled in these little gaps and started building the roof. As you can see, I messed up a little bit here and there, but I started to run out of a budget, so I had to go back to work. Okay, I'm gonna go to work. So I'll see you guys in a sec once I've got money for this. I in fact did not get money. I got called on by my boyfriend that there's apparently a summer festival going on in Grow Garden, so I joined them. Whoa! I was then done and I could get back to Bloxburg. Here, as you can see in the corner, I've got 45k. I did go back to work, so I could afford building the rest of this house. I got all the money and I started building the roof again because that's where we left off last time. So I ended the roof with just a couple more moss blocks, and then I just put on the finishing touches like the slabs on the top. I then started painting some of the blocks, and you know, since I can't put decals on stairs, I just painted them as pink planks. I then got a decal, resized it, and started placing it all over the house. So because prior to this, I prepared some decals of like Minecraft textures, and I'm going to be covering the house in all of these decals. Then I started painting the stone brick stairs and flooring, and due to me not having the transform tool, I cannot put decals on the floor, so unfortunately I had to paint all of this. But to be honest, in the final look, it actually looked really good, and it didn't look like it didn't fit in. I then quickly ran over to like try out some of the decals, see how they were looking, and I was shocked as to how good they looked. So I quickly changed all the decals. Yes! I then moved on to the kitchen, where I placed the cauldron, furnace, a barrel, another barrel on top, and a crafting table in the corner. As you can see, I was supposed to put a little staircase there because there's a little granite counter, you can say there. I then changed the colour of the window to like a mossy green because I love green windows for some reason in Minecraft. So in most of my builds, I do have green windows just because they add that little bit of colour, you know. Then I ended up putting the rest of the decals around the house, starting with the cherry logs. Those need to be planks. First, let's change these. These need to be trapdoors. And the trapdoor is this one. Copy asset ID. Wow. I loved how the trapdoors looked, and now it's time to put the two little flowers I've got in the front. In Minecraft, I put a blue orchid down on the right side of the, I don't know, patch of grass in front of my house, and then I put some orange tulips on the left. And so I just used normal garden items for this because I was not going to be faffing around with custom blocks trying to make plants. I then filled in all of the walls using decals with the cherry planks. Also, I realised that the doors were lacking a bit of detail, so I added some trapdoors. Don't worry, I have changed these decals to actual spruce doors later on. I then moved on to the roof, and I was trying to figure out what kind of texture and colour to use for the moss, and this like mossy green colour they used for the windows was perfect with the leaves texture. So I did that all over the house, and then I coloured all of the wood and the slabs with this spruce like plank-ish material. I think that it looked pretty good. It actually matched the spruce like planks in game pretty well. I then made some custom little floating lanterns because unfortunately in game there are no floating lanterns. I then filled in the inside of the house using the cherry plank decals, and as you can see here I deleted a few of them because through the window you could see that the blocks were grey and not actually pink planks, so I quickly changed that and put the decals back where they were meant to be. I then placed a large decal on this wall because I have the skeleton Minecraft painting there. So I placed that. I had to replace some of the blocks behind it to do this. And then the flooring was meant to be dark oak, so I just got one of the darkest but richest brown colours and used like an old plank-ish texture to really give it that like dark oak feeling, I guess. I then moved on to the kitchen and I changed the staircase to granite. It was a bit of a hassle trying to find the right texture and the right colour, but I finally figured it out and I finally found the right colour and the right material for it to actually look like Minecraft granite. I then moved on to the cauldron. The cauldron was the most fun to make because I had to make little walls. I actually built the cauldron, and yeah, I think this must have been one of the most fun things I've ever built. So I placed the 4 walls of the cauldron down, and then it was time to light the place up a little bit. So to those who play Bloxburg a lot, candles are our best friends in these kind of builds. They're so bright. So you don't actually have to have like visible lighting that doesn't fit your scheme. I then changed the decal for the cauldron, the furnace, the crafting table, and the barrels, so that it would be easier for me to match the colours on top to the actual, you know, textures, so that it wouldn't look out of place. As you can see here, I'm colouring the cauldron, and I'm using like a very similar colour to what the cauldron actually is, so it blends in more. And then for the furnace, I did use like a concrete-ish texture just because it fit it more than just a blank grey plastic top, you know. Then I created this massive potted plant because I love using potted plants with mini plants, and then like a dead bush inside or something like that. For the dead bush, there's actually no such thing as that in Bloxburg, so I used a piece of grass and it looked perfect for it. I then used my little carpet hack to put the leaves on top, and it looked fabulous. I then put the carpets down because I remember on the living room side it was like a pinkish carpet. I know it's not an actual living room, but I'm just gonna call it that. I did have a pink carpet there. As you can see, I'm trying to pick the right pink color. I went with salmon in the end. So I did that, picked the carpet texture, and then I copied that texture onto the other carpet but changed the color to white. And then my friends joined me. So they were there while I was building some of it, and as you can see here on the left it's Boog. I love their avatar so much, and here is Raids with their little doctor costume, nurse type thing, you know. And this is Boog's plot. Absolutely love it. They are an amazing builder. The inside of the house looks so cute. Unfortunately, I did not have the perms to actually go inside and look around. As you can see, I'm like slamming against the door because I can't get in. So yeah, so I looked around. The plot was huge, and I loved this little pond that they added in. And then I saw Nikki, and I got really excited because I have not played with them in so long. So that was a nice break from building, you know, relaxed my mind a little bit, but we got straight back into it, and I started building the flooring of the second floor. This was a bit annoying because, as you can see, I already placed the floor before. I had to move it again because it was on the wrong level. I then coloured all of it in the same material and colour as the first floor, which was just dark oak. And then I moved some of the candles upstairs because it was still a bit dark up there. So I just put them in the corners, you know, add as much light as we can. I then added little glass fencing around and used a see-through decal so I could actually put like a see-through Minecraft trapdoor. I then stole my bed from the corner of the plot and put it in because, you know, I kind of still want to make this house usable. I'd love to use this house in like the future or anything. I then built a little desk that was out of spruce just in the corner, and next to it was meant to be my nightstand, which was with a fence on the bottom and a pressure plate, but the pressure plate here was made out of carpet. Then here I added the little flower pot on the left with the orchid and a hook on the back, kind of tap type of thing. I then made a little path going to the house, and here I was building little buttons to go on the path as well. I then changed the decals to actual cherry trapdoors, and that was the end of the build. So the house is done now. Let me just check if I'm still recording. Yes, I am. So that's the house done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me just take you on a tour of our beautiful Minecraft house before I leave. So as you can see, we've got the entrance right here. Got our beautiful flowers, the front door. Then we've got our painting with our plant, our lanterns, our barrels. Then we've got our crafting table, cauldron, furnace and barrels, and our little kitchen setup. And then up here we've got our bed, our little nightstand, and our desk. Oh my god, I can actually get in here. Yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed it a lot. I've actually never done something like this before, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I hope I'll see you guys in the next video, and let me know if you'd like to see more Bloxburg content because I absolutely love this game. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!